Hello, we are Seismic Cinema. Grab some popcorn, grab some hand grenades, find some defilade, and put your feet up. And this is our review of Saving Private Ryan. This week, the main host is, by the way,
Well,
Colin,
Corporal Upham. Is that how you say it?
Corporal Upham,
Yeah.
aka the Coward. But anyway, we'll get to that soon.
Guess what, guys? I've actually seen a film that I said I was going to watch, and I've scratched it off my scratch map list, which is now going to start making some social media appearances because Paul didn't even know it existed.
No, and I'm proud of you because this is one of the film. This was not high up on my list of things that I would thought you would get round to watching first.
Well, we obviously were going to look at Good Will Hunting, but then it wasn't on any of the streaming services for free, and I'm really stingy, so we didn't do that in the end.
Yeah, until we start making some money, we ain't paying for no movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to surprise myself. I actually watched that almost 3 hour movie and didn't fall asleep.
I don't think it gives you a chance to fall asleep, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of you put me in the hosting position here, but you obviously know the movie better. So I'm just going to throw it. Nah, I'll just start. Be confident. Go in.
On you go,
So,
son.
do you want? What do you want? Do you just want my overall impressions? Do you want just bits I liked?
I just want you to tell me
And
how much you loved it and how it's the best movie ever.
right, that's quite a lot. Quite a lot of words. So I'll please you right off the bat and say I did really enjoy it.
Yes, I'm so happy.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just kind of talk about. There isn't actually right. There's only one thing in the whole film I don't like, and it's not really. I don't know. My character Corporal Upham, who I'll explain later why I chose him as my name. Um, they kept like panning to him like he was going to do something heroic, and it just never happened. He just continued to be a coward. Do you feel like it was building up to him actually doing something big, like a big redemptive arc?
Yeah, when I first watched it, I was thinking that he was going to have a big moment that he was going to prove himself as actually being worth being there or earning the right to survive. But see the scene towards the end. Oh my god. Oh, that one annoys me so much when he doesn't save his
And
pal.
I was waiting and waiting for him to that. I thought that was his big moment where he was going to come in and save his pal, as you said, and it
You
didn't
know.
happen. So that's probably my only gripe with the whole film, which I'm quite gripey when it comes to films. So I'd say that's quite a good thing.
Yeah. Me too, actually. I'm usually the more cynical one out of us two, but I absolutely love this film. It kind of revolutionized like war films for me. Like when I was younger, I remember seeing this and I thought it was the best thing ever. And even like modern like war movies that get made today, I feel like they struggle to even get near this kind of this kind of level.
It's made me want to start watching more like I don't want to say 1815 because that's Neil's film. Is it 1917? That was called.
Mm,
That's the right name, isn't it?
it is 1917, yeah, but it's not really the same vein as this. Like it's got good cinematography, but I found it to be a bit of a kind of walking simulator most of the time.
There's Dunkirk as well. Have you seen that?
I've not seen. I've seen the end. Um, I've not seen it the whole way through.
Paul watching movies by hours again.
Can't help it. I just find them sometimes, and
Yeah.
uh, I don't know what's going on. But I think if you're looking for like a good, like all action kind of movie with great stories mixed in, one of my favourites is it's a more modern one. It's Black Hawk Down, where it's got loads of
Yeah.
um, different stories happening at the same time, and you really need to keep focused to see like which people are where, who's trying to get to who. Tom Sizemore's in that as well.
I'm good at focusing now.
Good. So I think if you're looking for a good action with good story and great characters, I would go for Black Hawk Down.
I have heard of that. Yeah, something I really can relate or not relate to. Realize now after you and Daniel talking about it is that it does just feel like you're playing like Metal Gear Solid or Call of Duty. Like you can really see the influence it's had on those games.
Yeah, there's so many games copy like wee set pieces up off of it, and even like I've been saying in previous podcasts, like Medal of Honor copied that basically the whole opening sequence, the D-Day landings.
Yeah, I remember playing it because I have that game for the PlayStation 2, I think.
Yeah, and I think it got remastered as well. I don't know if you got the remaster, but yeah, it's absolutely amazing, and I think that's probably a good bit to start with is talking about the opening sequence. And I hope you loved it as much as I did, even though it's absolutely horrific. It's just amazing.
So I find it that's one of my things with action movies is when there's too much action, I find it a wee bit overwhelming in terms of trying to like focus on everything that's going on. See if the whole film had been like the first half hour, I don't know if I'd have enjoyed it as much, but it's not that I didn't enjoy the first half hour, if you get me. It's just it
Yeah.
is a lot. Like you couldn't have kept that going for 3 hours
No, no, no.
without breathing. So it was pretty. I wasn't actually expected to be that brutal, and I want to blame you. I actually just to fit it in time wise this evening. I was actually eating my dinner when I was watching it.
Oh,
I was actually eating my dinner during the opening half hour. Hold on 2 seconds. Cat's scratching things. So yeah, I was eating my dinner during the first half hour of the movie.
hope you weren't eating spaghetti.
No, the thing is, in that battle, you don't know. Obviously, you recognize like John Hanks. Who's
John
John
Hanks.
Hanks? Tom Hanks. But you're obviously not connected or caring much about the characters at that point. Obviously, you care about them as human beings. But I felt like the battles later on held more tension for me because I'd kind of got to know and spent time and like the characters. If you get
Yeah,
me.
because like the opening sequence, the only one you really recognise is Tom Hanks, maybe Tom Sizemore if you've seen him in other things. And then there's just a flurry of characters who you see for like brief moments. Some of them are making their way up the beach. Some of them are getting killed off.
Yeah.
You see, just like they'll see one of their pals and be like, right, oh Briggs, I'll try and
Oh,
help you.
it's so weird the way they were talking in the movie. Like, remember when Tom Hanks is assembling his team to go and find Private Ryan,
Yeah,
and somebody's like mentions a name, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, they're dead," but they say it so matter of factly. Like, it's crazy how they're just,
desensitized.
and it's just so normal. It's basically like the equivalent of somebody calling in sick or being on holiday. It's like, oh, they're not available. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think Tom Hanks's character, I think like you're saying, he's been totally desensitized because I think him and Tom Sizemore had been through different campaigns together. I think they'd been in Africa and Italy, and then they were in France.
Yeah.
So they'd seen so many people. And I think at one point Tom Hanks, he knows exactly how many men he lost under his command.
Yeah. It did do a really good job of putting you in the shoes of a soldier and seeing that everything that goes on and how brutal it was. And it's such a kind of violent film, and you just see people's like guts and people with their faces burnt off, and it's quite not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, it's just such a grand scale, having like all those extras, having all the different things happening at the one time. Uh, like you know the bit where they're landing, and you see like one of the landing craft on fire, and you see them running out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just wee details like that, like when you see stuff in the background, and like you see like other soldiers like kicking them into the water and stuff like that. Just
Oh,
like
there was such a brutal bit when something was on fire and he would just like let them burn. I was like, what?
oh yeah, when they use the flamethrowers in the German bunkers.
Yeah. I did enjoy seeing all the different weapons, and I thought I would I would usually focus on things for the story, but I actually did enjoy seeing like the bazookas and the sniper rifles and the grenades. It was cool seeing all the
Yes,
different
and
weapons.
it's so it's just like it's just such a good, authentic kind of looking movie. Nothing seems out of place, and yeah, I just one of these films that I never thought you'd be really like, interested in. So I'm just really glad you got around to watching it.
No, no. As we've said numerous times, a big plus for me of doing this podcast is it kind of forces me, not in a bad way, but it forces me to watch things so I'm prepared to do it. So
Yeah.
it's a good way of kind of catch up on things you haven't seen.
So at the start, did you fall for the fake out or did you not fall for the fake out?
I kind of thought it wasn't going to be him, and if it had been, if I think I knew just from pictures and stuff that Matt Damon was Private Ryan, but imagine how disappointed it would have been if that really pathetic guy was the titular character.
No, I meant
Oh, you talking about a different one?
yeah, I was talking about the old guy at the start.
No, I thought that was Private Ryan.
Did you? When I
Yeah.
first watched it, I thought it was Tom Hanks. I didn't
No,
realize. I
I
didn't
wasn't
realize.
100% certain, but I think overall I thought it was Ryan.
Yeah. See, I I thought it was Tom Hanks from like the get go when I first watched it, and I was just so shocked when he died, and I was like, "Who's the old guy?" And then
Yeah,
obviously you find out it's Ryan, just because you see like it pans to his eyes, and then it goes straight to D-Day,
yeah,
and then at one point it pans into Tom Hanks's eyes, like the exact same way.
yeah. That was just to trick you. There was the cinematography was amazing. There was a couple of bits that stood out. There was a bit where it was just like it was like a river, and it was like the raindrops, but you could hear the guns. So like you saw the raindrops in the water, but then you were hearing the guns from a distance.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
there
how
was
good was the sound?
it was good, yes. And there was a scene I can't remember what had happened just before it, but it was like their silhouettes. Like there was like a white background and then the kind of black silhouettes, and there was a few scenes where it looked really cool.
No, no, okay.
I don't know if you know, but I mean, obviously I've just watched it, and you probably haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah, I watched it on Saturday actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did a wee quick read.
You probably know what I mean when you're watching it.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite funny as well. I think when they got their gang together to go find Ryan, I thought the humor was quite good in the camaraderie between the soldiers.
Yeah, they've got got a good wee banter between each of them, which makes it even harder when they all start getting picked off, kind of one by one.
It's got a bit of a Rogue One vibe in that sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, a wee bit. But
But
I found this more hard hitting because
uh,
I don't know, because you'd been through like all that, they'd survived all of that, all the start, and then they're just getting whittled down to save one guy.
I need to talk about the cast list. This is a bit I've been excited to talk about because there's extra people I probably know that you don't because they're in things that I've seen and you haven't seen.
Right?
So the obvious ones, obviously, Tom Hanks, Woody himself. Matt Damon's obviously an obvious one.
Obvious and
There's
obvious one.
Bryan Cranston had his. That was one of the cameos, I assume.
Went his arm off.
Big Walt himself. There was a. I don't know how much you've seen of Friends, but there's two quite well-known Friends actors in this.
Hit me.
The guy that gets kind of strangled. The scene when Upham doesn't rescue him. That guy.
Yeah.
Can't remember his
Uh-huh.
name.
Mellish.
No, I don't think that's Mellish. I think it's my cat's doing my head in. I don't know how best to describe him to you. Hold on, I'm just trying to find his actual actor name. You know the guy I mean? He's like one of the main gang. He's the one that gets like stabbed by the German guy who then comes down the stairs and passes up him.
Yeah. Is it not Mellish? Is it the Jewish one?
Yeah, I don't think that was his name, but anyway, that's he plays a guy called his character name's Creepy Eddie. He's Joey's roommate in Friends for an episode or two.
Right, okay.
So he's in Friends. That's probably where one of his best known roles. But also, you know, the young guy who dies in the scene when they're kind of interrogating the guy. What's his name?
Oh, Wade, the medic.
Giovanni Ribisi.
Aye, Wade the medic.
Yeah, Wade. He's Phoebe's son in Friends.
Okay.
No, not son. Phoebe's wee brother,
Right, okay.
and he's like a
Like,
recurring.
is that when they have a surrogate baby?
Yeah, he's a recurring character in Friends. So there was two kind of Friends actors in there. Another one that you probably don't know, Ted Danson.
From Cheers.
Right. Okay, I've not seen that, but he's in The Good Place,
Right, okay.
which I've watched the first season of. A lot of time you don't recognize the actors when they've got like the hats on.
The helmets.
It's yeah, the helmets. Yeah. There's a few other ones.
You see Nathan Fillion.
Who's that?
Have you ever seen Firefly? No.
No, I've not seen that.
He's in loads of things. He's in the new Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
You know that guy that can detach his arms? He dies at the start.
Yeah, I remember watching it with you.
He was the wrong Private Ryan.
Yeah. There another one, see Corporal Upham.
Yeah.
He's played by a guy called Jeremy Davis, and he is a quite major character in Lost.
Upham's in Lost, is he?
Yeah. He plays
He's
a guy.
also-
He plays a guy called Daniel Faraday.
He's in Justified as well.
Right. Okay.
And he plays a hillbilly kind of brother, and he's really, really good at it. It's such a like night and day thing compared to this.
So that there was quite a few that I recognise just from shows and films that I've seen. One last one, it was not a real one. The guy's actually called Edward Burns. You know, Rybin. He looks a lot. I thought he was Ben Affleck at the start, and I think there's quite a few people thought he looked quite a bit like Ben Affleck.
A skinny Ben Affleck.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was some of the people I picked out from various media.
Right. Whose death hit you the hardest?
I didn't expect Tom Hanks's character to what's he doing? Captain Miller to get killed off. I thought he would make it.
Mm-hmm.
That one, but I also thought the Wade's was quite hard hitting because he'd obviously told the story about his mother and he was kind of crying out for her, and I thought that one was quite.
Yeah, and he just knew they couldn't help him. They overdosed him in morphine.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
probably those two.
Yeah. Wade's was a bit. Like, how many times did you cry?
I didn't cry though, but I felt emotional watching it. I really liked the Ryan's words at the end of the film, and I thought Tom Hanks' speech. See when is it Rybin? He's about to leave, and he gives a speech about how he's not doing it for Ryan. He's just it's his job, and he's just trying to get back home essentially.
Yeah,
I like the kind of conflict in that pretty much all of them didn't really want to do it and didn't agree with it, and it does bring up that whole is one life worth losing others. So there was a nice kind of ethical dilemma there, which I thought was great.
I know, and they kept kind of reinforcing it, didn't they? Like when you meet the glider pilot, and he's saying like they pretty much sacrificed the plane and all the men to try and protect the one general.
Yeah.
And they end up getting killed anyway because they messed it up.
Yeah.
And you can just tell like the more the squad gets hit, the more resentment builds for Ryan.
Yeah, but then when they meet him, I really liked Matt Damon's bit where he had the opportunity to go and he decided not to because he wanted to stand. And then you could see Rybin started to respect him after that. There was a scene where he just kind of looked at him and like nodded at him. So you could
Yeah.
see like I kind of thought that would happen. I thought when they actually met him, they would like him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was a couple of bits actually. Assuming we were talking at the start, like bits he didn't quite like. So like Ryan was obviously fighting in the final battle kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like at the very end, you just kind of see him like huddled up and like crying,
kind of crying. Yeah.
like just out of nowhere. Like because like, a few people like Tom Sizemore's dead at this point. Most of the squad's dead. Like Tom Hanks is hurt from the tank blowing up. So then it's gone from like helping each other to like curled up in a ball and crying, which I thought was a bit
I noticed that as well. Actually, I think the main one for me still is Upham. He was carrying the ammo about for ages, like he was going to give it to somebody or do something with it himself, and that's probably is my main gripe with the film, that they built him up so much but didn't actually deliver. I know he shot the German guy, but
they could have done that.
They'd already surrendered. Basically, it wasn't really a heroic moment.
No. And did you notice as well, like when he shot the prisoner, there was a kind of like a white kind of lens flare around him.
Yeah,
like it was kind of weird. Which was also before there was a kind of white lens flare happened around Tom Hanks when in the D-Day landings there was like 2 Germans that were surrendering,
right.
and 2 Americans just went up and shot them, and they were making fun of them surrendering.
Yeah,
and it was like Tom Hanks was looking as if it was like, I don't know, it was like corresponding with when something bad happened that wasn't right, kind of thing. This kind of lens flare appeared. I don't know if it's just me talking nonsense, but I just noticed it twice in the movie.
Right. Maybe I'll notice it on a rewatch. I would like to apologise for our viewers and listeners. I actually felt totally fine until 5 minutes before we recorded this. Now I'm a sniffly mess. So if you're hearing any sniffles on the podcast, I do apologise, but we wanted to share our views on this.
Yeah, I think you sound all right, man. I think you sound fine.
Probably shouldn't. I think the reviews are always a wee bit quicker, and I feel like we've covered most things, really.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go through it because I actually wrote down quite a few notes on it.
They really captured how brutal it must have been to be the family left behind. See, when the mum of the Ryan children is at the window and sees the car coming, like that must have just been what they were waiting for all the time, and it must have been a horrible way to live.
Yeah, and just the way she collapsed to the floor.
Yeah.
And imagine it told like one son, but imagine it told 3 sons in the one go.
Yeah.
That'd have been horrific.
And also, Tom Hanks' character never got to go home to his wife either.
No.
I liked that he was a teacher. That made me relate to him.
I know. So, man, you should have been Captain Miller in this video.
Nah, I would definitely have been like, I didn't even recognize the actor for Upham until a wee bit later into the film. I thought he was quite funny when he was first introduced, though, and he wanted to bring like his typewriter with him.
And he picked up a German helmet and stuff like that.
And he was asking all the questions, like he was wanting to like have that kind of camaraderie, which ironically did occur naturally as time went on.
Yeah,
and they kept trying to find out like where Miller was from and things like that. I'm glad that had a bit of payoff because that led into the speech about where he was from.
Yeah. And did you ever find out what foobar meant?
I did look it up actually. Is it not just like where things are like crazy or like everything's a bit mental, something like that?
Yeah, and it's an acronym
for
first word's a bad word.
Okay.
F up beyond all recognition.
Okay, that's an interesting tidbit.
Yes. I
think this is actually made me want to play like Call of Duty and also maybe want to watch other war films. So I think I'm actually a war film fan now.
good because that can be one of our rankings once you get a few totted up.
Yeah. No, I did. I did really enjoy it. I told my dad to watch. My dad's not seen it.
Was he not?
No.
I think you really enjoy it.
Yeah, told him to.
Because it is it's such a. I just love this movie a bit. It's just everything from the camera work to the sound, like the camera when he's like following the troops.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like I'd never seen that in a movie until this one.
There's a lot of shaky cam.
Yeah, lots of shaking. I
Yeah,
think this
what?
was,
Sometimes like that gets criticised in films, but I think for a film like this, it makes sense because it highlights just how crazy it all is.
yeah, it really puts you in the ground in the moment kind of thing. I can't imagine it working with just that kind of fixed camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the sound design, like see the start, just the bullets whizzing everywhere. You hear all the pings and explosions, all the dinks. Aye, just
The water filled with blood was pretty brutal as well. I think it makes it unbelievable that like these things are actually happening again in the world.
yeah, yeah. I think I read somewhere that they used like 40. Was it 40 barrels of blood or something crazy like 40. I can't remember what the quantity, the measurement was, but it was like just an absolute ton of blood for all these scenes, and they had like 1,000 or 2,000 extras or something for that first the first kind of landing.
There was a bit where uh, Tom Hanks' character put a helmet on his head, then the blood came down over his head. I was like,
Oh yeah, because he picked up and it got full of blood, full of bloody water. Yeah,
yeah,
but it's just wee kind of great things like that. It's just wee moments like you don't really notice them at the time, but it really kind of adds to the experience.
yeah. I would probably watch it again. Maybe not immediately, but
Nah, it's
in a
definitely
few
one of these things you need to have time for it, but
yeah.
you
But
definitely
I'm glad I put the time aside.
yeah. Let's see whatever else have I wrote down. Just like see when you first seen it and you seen Tom Hanks was going to be the kind of the main character.
Aye.
Like obviously before this, like he's probably known for doing like all kind of goofy comedies and stuff like that.
Woody.
Nothing like that serious. So
He's brilliant, wasn't he?
I was absolutely fantastic.
Did he win it? Did he win anything for this?
I don't think I think I'm not entirely sure. I think the only thing I seen was Steven Spielberg got the best director Oscar,
No.
but how this never won best movie is beyond me.
It's good that
Shakespeare in Love on it.
I've not seen that. We should do a Spielberg movie ranking.
I'd be down for that. It would just be all gold.
Yep. So I've got an idea actually for the movie rating.
Right?
We should give it like so many seismic blasts out of. Do you know what I mean? Like instead of like out of, we give it like 5 seismic blasts or something like that. No.
Sounds like farts.
No. Are you going to ask me what was your
what about a seismic score?
seismic score? Right. What's your seismic score for this
Right,
movie?
this has actually got an 8.6 on IMDb, but I'm going to give it a 9.5 because I absolutely adore this movie. The only things that kind of drop it down for me from being like a perfect 10 were I just found the end a bit too not convenient, but like as soon as as soon as the tank blows up, then all these troops appear out of nowhere. Like where were they? Like this whole time, like
I thought as well when the planes came in, it's like if they existed, why did they not help?
yeah, like how could they have not got someone there sooner? Or like if this bridge was so important, like I just you know what I mean. I just found it was way too quick of a sequence of events that
Yeah.
that happened, and then all these troops just suddenly appear out of nowhere, just rushing across this bridge,
Yeah.
and there wasn't a medic to help Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
not a single medic. Um, so that was the kind of bit that annoyed me the most, is that wee bit at the end. But up until that point, I absolutely loved it. I thought the characters were really, really compelling, which added to when they died that you really felt it.
Yeah.
There was lots of kind of random bits as well that I really liked, which, like when the guy goes to stick the bomb on the tank and he leaves it too long and he blows himself up.
Yeah.
You can just imagine people that aren't used to using these things doing things like that in the heat of the moment. Yes, that'd be it. And I just really liked um, like a lot of the effects, like when they were shooting, when MD was getting shot, you could always see like the kind of puffs of dust where they were getting shot, and I felt like that really added a lot of impact and a lot of gravity to it. So it was really like it was like a really tangible kind of satisfying feeling that you could
Oh,
see.
the big words are coming out tonight.
And no, I read a thesaurus.
Yes. Swallowed up thesaurus.
Um, yeah, so I really just liked all that. So yeah, a 9.5 from me.
I'm actually going to give it the same. I was going to go 9, but I liked Corporal Upham's character. I think he was the comic relief. I think he kind of brought a wee bit more of a light-hearted feel to it, because I think it could have been too heavy without that. And I'm taking the 0.5 off for just the fact that, as been mentioned earlier, it kept seeming like he was going to have this heroic Neville Longbottom moment, and it just never came. I think I just had a soft spot for him though because of his character from Lost, so I had that kind of associated feeling.
See, I absolutely despised him, and then when he didn't save Mellish, like I was just like, what is he even doing in this movie? Like, why?
But I
And
did,
then he shoots the guy at the end that he should have shot 10 minutes ago and saved his pal.
yeah, I know, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what brought it down. But 9.5 is probably the highest rating I've given any movie so far.
Yeah,
So
me too.
things I did mention is I really liked the kind of quiet moments where they were just talking and telling stories, and like he was like translating the music from like French into English. I also think something we've not mentioned is the pacing of the film is really good. I feel like it, the action scenes aren't too long, and it has a mix of the quiet and the louder moments. But also, as soon as it feels like it's starting to slow a bit, like something happens, like weapons go off somewhere and they have to move.
Yeah, it just ramps up. Yeah,
So I think
I would definitely agree with that.
I feel for like just under 3 hour movie, it doesn't feel that long.
No, no, and I think it gives a lot of time to the kind of appropriate places, like the start, the opening sequence. I feel like for the kind of the grand kind of scale of it, it needed time dedicated to it,
Hmm.
and the end battle as well, because there was like so much at stake. I feel like I had and all the different kind of moving components and all the kind of strategy. I feel like it needed a lot of time dedicated to it as well. So I feel like it allotted appropriate time to all the different kind of pieces to the
So
movie.
we're level in the 9.5s. I was just going to do some plugs, and then I've got 5 quick fire questions for you.
No worries. I was going to hit you with some trivia as well, in case you wanted some wee factoids.
Yeah, we'll get them at the end. So, in terms of where you can watch and listen, you can watch us on YouTube, and you can see my handkerchiefs as I battle my hay fever. So you can check out loads of our rankings and reviews on YouTube, and we are now up to 33 subscribers. None of those are me on different accounts, and so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. In terms of just audio podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, Amazon Music, Audible, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and I think I nailed them all there. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow us, like us, share us, subscribe us, all the verbs. Yeah. So quick fire questions. A nice easy one just to Ease
Easy.
you in. Your first one. What is your favorite film or TV parody that The Simpsons has done? Whether it's just a full episode or just like a part of an episode. Anything that stands out?
Probably one that just pops in my mind that was one we always talk about, The Shining.
Yeah, The Shining. Nice.
Shining.
Yeah, technically, Cape Fear is a parody. I've not seen the film Cape Fear. I might watch it one day. It's a parody in itself, that episode.
Oh, right, okay. I think I've seen that either.
So
We really got on our game for this.
You going for The Shining?
Shining.
Yeah, I've got some quite pleased with the questions I came up with in the end. So next one. I'll do these here two first. What is your favourite cinema snack if you could only choose one? Whether it's like crisps or chocolate kind of style. What's your go-to?
It's a toss-up between nachos and crispy M&Ms. Crispy M&Ms.
Oh, I like Kevin Crispy M&Ms at cinema too.
Blue packet.
Yep, you better not
Yeah,
steal mine.
buddy.
Right, next one. Right, I know you're you prefer villains. So I want you to make your dream Star Wars squad. You're allowed one Force user, one leader in the kind of military, one kind of just normal officer, one stormtrooper class, and one bounty hunter. And you have to do them quickly. So Force user, who are you going for?
Maul.
Darth Maul, okay. And like kind of military leader.
Veers.
Okay, and a kind of lower ranking officer, if you can think of one.
Aiden Versio. Before she was good.
Nice. A stormtrooper class.
Does Death Trooper count?
Yeah. And a bounty hunter.
Gotta be the boy Boba, doesn't it?
Nice.
Oh no, can we say that? No. Can we put Mando in there? Because technically he has a bounty hunter.
Yeah, you can put Mando in there. That's fine. Right, second last one. Choose 5 movie characters who you would choose, and they can't be professionals in this field. 5 movie characters you would pick to beat the Looney Tunes in a game of basketball.
What?
As per my Space Jam pick in the recent podcast.
So it's just 5 movie characters.
5 random movie characters you think would make a good basketball team who aren't basketball players.
Oh, God's sake.
Think of people that are nice and agile, quick, good team player.
Professor X, because he just frees him in the mic.
Yeah, that.
Wolverine, because he could just pop the ball before it gets to the net.
You're not allowed any more X-Men, by
the way. Spider-Man, because Andrew Garfield can hit a good slam dunk.
Nice.
No
more Marvel characters.
Oh God. My mind's gone blank. I can't even think of who's. So these are maybe quick fire questions. You hit me with 5 people.
Right. We'll go for free. Last one.
Right.
Who do you want to play you in a movie about your life?
Oh, my life's pretty boring. Pretty boring. So who's a boring actor?
Someone with a long hair.
Yeah. Go Stephen Merchant with black hair.
That's quite a boring choice.
Yeah. I can't imagine anyone with charisma really wanting to play me.
What about I'm trying to think of somebody with the hair matches up, Kenny Reed or something. You know, have long
Somebody,
hair.
somebody did say Gerard Butler at a wedding one time.
Specifically, Jared Butler at a wedding.
Yeah,
Or
well,
they said at
yeah.
a wedding.
But my hair was a wee bit shorter. I was, yeah.
Yeah. Right, so that was the 5 questions. Was it? Yeah, it was 5 questions.
I was 5 questions. Yeah.
And did you have some trivia just before we hang up?
Just a couple of wee bits of trivia. So, to prepare, the 8-man squad did a week-long boot camp. And do you remember when they're talking, like all the kind of people that were doing the letters to the families, and there was like
Yeah.
like 4 guys, and there was a colonel with white hair saying like, "Oh, Ryan's probably KIA."
Yeah.
He's actually, I think
That
he was
means
like,
killed in action. Really.
what?
That means killed in action.
Hey, you're learning.
I actually knew that as soon as I heard it.
All right, okay. I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
So, yeah, there's a week-long boot camp, and that guy was actually the kind of drill instructor for it because he's like ex-military. The guy with the white
Nice.
hair was a colonel. I think everybody wanted to quit because it was so hard. I think they were expecting it to just be like a kind of celebrity kind of getaway kind of thing, and everybody wanted to quit.
Quite brutal then. Quite brutal to film.
I think it must have been pretty brutal to do, just to kind of get him in shape for it. And I think Tom Hanks kind of kept them all together, kept them basically doing it because he'd done it before for the Vietnam scenes of Forrest Gump.
That's next on my list. It's been sitting beside my TV for months. I might watch that next week.
All right, okay, nice. But also, Matt Damon didn't do the intensive training. He was left out of it completely. So that if the actors had any resentment towards him, it was showing their acting because like they were resenting going to save him.
Yeah.
So like
nice.
Matt Damon was like kind of pampered whilst they were all out getting 50 Shades of Black and Blue kicked into them in this intensive training course.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, and I think that was it. There was a couple. I think it was also a testament to the movie that it was so kind of accurate historically. Not accurate historically, but
Yeah.
like the kind of atmosphere of it all, and the fact that Steve Spielberg didn't pull back any punches with the kind of brutality of it.
Yeah, I've seen some comments where people said it was like one of the most like realistic portrayals of war.
Yeah, I think some people at cinemas, like I think there's war historians and like veterans and stuff, couldn't watch it the whole way through. Like, they had to stop and like kind of gather themselves back again because it was so kind of emotionally upsetting for them.
I get that.
So yeah, that's my wee
Cool.
factoid.
Very nice. The only thing I forgot to mention was what's coming up next, which is a wee bit up in the air at the moment. So this is coming out on Thursday. On Monday, we're hoping to have a director ranking for you, although we're still waiting to see who's going to be at that. Paul might be missing it, so
I might be MIA.
I might be flying solo, better than KIA.
That's true.
And then the following Thursday, what is the following? What's the date next week? Oh, it'll be our. I think it depends on what order we do it. We're going to do a ranking of the Star Wars movies
with some special guests.
Yeah, we'll need to schedule that, and also we're going to do a review of Moon Knight, which is 4 episodes in. Paul's seen the first 3. I've seen the first 4, so there's a couple of episodes left. So that's quite a lot to talk about there as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's quite an interesting wee series. So
I think we should a ranking I'd love to do at some point is the Marvel Disney Plus shows. So WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye, and the one we're just talking about, Moon Knight. So that might require you to do a wee bit of finishing off in places.
Right, okay. Right.
Right, we finish up there. Right about the 45-minute mark, half time. So
are you wanting to talk about the podcast bracket challenge? No.
You can mention it if you want.
Okay, we're doing an indie podcast challenge. We're in the final 16. Thanks to all your help in the previous rounds voting. I had to do a promo for another podcast where I've done a terrible Rod Serling impression, Twilight Zone, for them in a terrible American accent. So if you want to hear it, go on Twitter, go on our page, or go to that damn podcast, and it will be on there. And if you like it, vote for us. If not, just don't vote for the other team.
We like these challengers better than the last ones. And by the way, Libel Podcast, if you're listening,
They listened to one of our videos the other day, by the way.
That's funny.
Oh,
and thanks to Scarlett. Thanks to Scarlett for all your help.
Yep, and Daniel.
No, I went for this one. But Daniel was the last
one.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Paul, what is the tagline?
The power of escapism.
Although this was a different kind of escapism than normal, but still enjoyable movie, very thought-provoking, and a masterpiece.
Correct. Love it.
Over now, I'm a war movie fan now, so I've changed.
Clear the beach.
Yes. Right, let's get out of here. See ya.
See ya. Bye.